All right, guys, so welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Going to be going over both the WGC Workday concession picks here, our tournament preview, sorry, as well as the tournament preview for the Puerto Rico Open here as well. Gonna double dip the chip here, so it's gonna be a kind of an action-packed video. Just right off the bat, though, I do want to say both of these courses we don't have any like strokes gain data on. For one, the WGC event that's being held. It's the first time being held at this tournament. They're holding it here because of constraints with COVID. They couldn't really travel to Mexico, so they decided to have it at this Florida golf course in Bradenton, Florida. It does look pretty sweet, and we'll get into like the course preview because we're gonna have to break that down, obviously, because we don't have any of that data. So we're gonna go through and kind of break down the course. Then we're gonna get into the Puerto Rico Open as well because we have a little bit of data to go off of at least. So kind of some interesting things. Let's get into it, guys. All right, so I'm just going to pull it up here on this screen here. So I do have the Puerto Rico Open. We'll start with that, and then we'll dive down into the WGC event. So just looking at the Puerto Rico Open, it actually is kind of a longer course, which I don't know if you guys find this weird that they're able to travel to Puerto Rico but not to Mexico. Kind of just a weird, I don't really get that. They say it's more of a logistics thing due to COVID. So I don't know, just a weird thing to me as a whole. But we kind of see this. This course can play kind of more difficult. It is a longer course. So I don't know, it's just an interesting one in general because obviously they can go low. Minus 20 being the winning score. The average winning score is minus 16, or almost minus 17, and the average cut line is like minus 1. Some years it's minus 3, some years it's plus 1. I think it really could depend on the weather there. Yeah, so that makes sense. So weather in 2019 was worse, a lot of winds there, looks like, so that's why it played more difficult. And then in 2016 it did play more difficult as well. So I think if the wind gets onto that course, it is going to make it a little bit more difficult. So that'll be something that you guys will have to look at. We'll have to look at this week to see if it's going to play more difficult. But there have been a lot of first-time winners here, and so someone like Justin I think is going to pop for me. That's going to be a player that I'm going to be on, I think, this week. Just seems like a quality play. And then just kind of breaking it down further. So my notes from last year are that, you could use comp courses for this. If a golfer doesn't have any course history, what is that for comp course wise? You could use the Corrales and you could use like Mocoba if you guys wanted to. And then key stats at this tournament have been total driving, ball striking, driving distance, opportunities gained are kind of the most key stats. Probably would want to look at birdie to bogey ratio as well. That's like a 5th key stat. But let's get into the tournament preview for the WGC event here. All right, so I got the course pulled up because, I kind of thought that this would be kind of the best way to go about, I guess, previewing the tournament because, well, we kind of don't have any other ways to do that. So we'll do that this way. So hole 1. I think a theme that we're going to see on this video is that a lot of the holes are kind of protected decently well. They got some undulating greens as well. Might make it a little bit more difficult of a week to putt, honestly. Once again, green side surrounded by a bunker and water. I don't think the course is going to play overly too difficult, but it is kind of a longer track as well. It's par 72 playing at 7,400 yards or so. So driving distance will probably be a key stat here as well. But once again, protected well, undulating greens. But overall, the greens don't see that difficult once you get onto them. It's just a matter of getting there. I don't know. This course is kind of fun because we don't exactly know how it's going to play. I think it's just a matter of like greens and regulation, and you should be pretty good. So maybe just like opportunities gained. But once again, surrounded by bunkers and then a little runoff here into some water, so there is going to be some danger here. I do expect it to be high scoring, but I also expect there to be some really brutal blow up holes for some of the golfers this week where maybe we just want to attack someone that's not going to have those explosion rounds, I guess, if you will. Yeah, just kind of crazy here. Par 5, kind of deep. This one's like, it's looking like a fun course, honestly. This is one where I would enjoy playing as well here. Really protected well, this course as a whole. Going to be challenging. That'll be a fun tee shot here from way back there, probably to right here or so, and then nice little layup. This is going to be a fun course. But I think we can see here, just kind of based off of what we've seen so far in the pictures, is that, ball striking will probably be a key stat here. And then probably opportunities gained. Typically WGC events are great because you can target players that, maybe like Justin Thomas, where he should be able to bounce back this week. But those players where if they have one bad round, they normally do recover, and I think that's why like JT is a good example of that, because he can have one bad round, but normally if you give him 4 rounds, he's typically going to go out and score. So I do think we want to look at like birdie or better percentage as well, though the course could play more difficult. But driving distance, I think we'll have to look at as well. And then strokes gained approach. I think those will be the key stats for this tournament. So ball striking, strokes gained approach, and total driving. And let's pull up some key stats there to kind of show you guys who would be the good picks for not only this tournament, but also the Puerto Rico Open if some of those players potentially pop up. So let's get into that. All right, so I got the key stats page pulled up here on the 9 to 5 Sports page, and we'll just kind of sort it by ball striking. We'll do top 100 there. See who we get that pulls up. And once again, this is data that has been updated prior to the closing of the Genesis, which once again, Sam Burns at 125 to 1. Please do not blow it. He had just bogeyed to make the lead 1 when I started this video. So I'm hoping that he pulls through for us. Honestly, if he does win, he'd probably be one of the easier long shot bets that I can remember in like recent memory over like the past year or so, because him at 125 to 1 was kind of just like a real standout there. In terms of long shots, like it's kind of an obvious one there. But ball striking we want to look at for sure for both events. Let's see here. Probably greens gained, but I'll probably just look at opportunities gained, but we'll look at greens gained as well. Greens gained is just greens regulation or on the fringe. Possibly recovery for both tournaments, to be honest with you. Just look at birdie to bogey ratio as well. And we'll pull up strokes gained approach. And then one more we'll do. Let's do strokes gained tee to green. All right, so let's see who would be kind of checking all the boxes there. If that's the only stats that we wanted to look at, we could also do it by doing it this way as well, which, that'll be something I do as well here real quick. So looking over, there's not a big list. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about like 20 players here, just going off of based on like top 100 in each of those categories I was talking about there. Doc Redman surprisingly popping up. I'm not sure if he's playing in the Puerto Rico Open. He could be someone that we look at. Maybe Will Zalatoris is playing in the Puerto Rico Open, but in terms of the WGC event, DJ's obviously going to be a great play. John Rahm still is. JT will probably fall off a little bit because he did play poorly this week. Same thing for Bryson. I think I'd feel fine with Webb. He's just great ball striker. Great at hitting greens. Greens gained, he's really great at that as well. So I would be fine with him. I kind of do want to just sort it real quick by filtering it the other way. So let me just refresh this page. We'll filter it the other way with the stats, just kind of using those few key stats that we want to look at. And then I'll sort it by like one main stat here. So give it a second to load. We'll be good. All right, so just going to do... All right, give it a few seconds here. Might want to actually look at bogey avoidance this week. That could be something we actually would want to look at. I'm thinking about it. All right, so the ones that I have so far are fairways hit, greens gained, birdie to bogey ratio, strokes gained approach, strokes gained tee to green, ball striking. Let's get some other stats in there as well. Actually, I'm good with that. So let's see what that gives us here. Then we'll sort it by mean, we got the top 60 in the world rankings here, so we could kind of get a, you know, decent piece of like what we would want to see. But let's just sort it by strokes gained total. We'll do top 20 in that. How about just to narrow down the list a little bit? So just looking at it, so obviously DJ is going to be a pretty stellar play this week. Fairways hit percentage is a little bit lower. You know, I don't even think we have to look at that, but let's just pull that one off. We want greens gained, but I think this is going to be kind of a bomb and gouge course. So ball striking, you know, he's going to be an elite play. Collin Morikawa, if putting doesn't matter that much, which it could, if the greens are playing fast, maybe not include Collin Morikawa because he's still trying to figure out kind of his putting situation as a whole. But if like later on in the week we see that it's not going to matter, you know, he's a pretty strong staff hit overall here. Terrell Hatton, I think he's going to be back. I would be fine with him. Would want to see him play a little bit better in kind of longer tracks. He doesn't typically play that well at a longer track. Let's see. That's kind of it popping wise. Let's get some ball striking in there. Top 35 in ball striking and then top 20 in strokes gained total. Let's see who we got there. That'll help, I think, a lot. So Paul Casey, he's not actually in this event. Kind of surprising to me. Rory, you know, I think Rory will bounce back. DJ, Bryson. So all those guys should play better. Let's bump up the strokes gained total now. Abraham Answer, he'll probably bounce back. He'd actually be a decent bounce back target. Obviously, he didn't have any practice rounds this last week and played decently well. I'd be okay with that. Harris English probably going to bounce back a little bit, although I don't really trust that. Victor Hovland, I think I would like as a play. Joaquin Niemann, this should be a much better course for him. He really only had one bad round at the Genesis Invitational. I think that'd be a solid play there. Obviously a strong ball striker, strong strokes gained to the green. Good birdie to bogey ratio. I kind of like him as kind of a dark horse. That'd probably be it for me personally. Yeah. I am interested to see kind of who's going to be playing in that Puerto Rico Open, like Matthew Naismith, if he's in that, James Hahn, if he's in that, Sam Burns or something. He probably won't be since he won, obviously, but, or if he wins. But like Justin Sudd there for the Puerto Rico Open, I think he's going to be a key play. He's in the tournament. He kind of would go along the flow of, you know, a first-time winner at the Puerto Rico Open, which to me would make sense. So if Justin Sutt opens up at like double-digit odds, I'd probably pull the trigger on that come Monday morning if that's what pops up. I would, you know, definitely like to take those early odds on him for the Puerto Rico Open. But overall, it's looking like it's going to be another DJ Wake for the WGC event. Probably just going to be locking them in and then probably going back to the well with Joaquin Niemann. It's going to feel like a similar event to the Genesis Invitational. It kind of seems like as a whole, just in the sense that it's going to be a driving distance, ball striking, and, you know, not making many mistakes. Hopefully the wind doesn't become a factor. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the course preview. Kind of sucks that we couldn't really dive down into the stats like we typically do on a Sunday. I really enjoy doing that, so we did the best that we could. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and as always, let's keep cashing. All right, I'm out.